What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Countdown Scouting Network. I'm your host, Joey Garcia, and today we are breaking down a very, very deep tackle class right here. This is probably the best tackle class that I um, have scouted in my last 3 years of doing this. So let's go ahead and start breaking it down. We're going to try to get through all of them today. And we're just going to try to go rapid fire through them, maybe be a 20-minute video. But there's a chance that I ramble on and it'll be split up into two parts like we usually have been doing. So let's start off with this Yale tackle, Karen Amagagi. God dang, I tried practicing that before, and then as soon as I get on here, that happened. So I haven't been able to watch. He only played 4 games this year, and so I haven't been able to watch him. But I've been hearing people talking good about him, saying that I need to watch him. I haven't been able to find any of his tape from last year or any of his tape from this year, so I'm going to pass. They say he's a fluid mover, and they say he could be a day two guy, so like a third round pick. I think he's probably with this tackle class, how deep it is, and people going for their favorite flavors. I think he could end up falling down to the fourth, fifth round. Um, but again, I haven't been able to watch him. So let's go to some people I have been able to watch. Let's look at Ethan Driscoll from Marshall. He's my number 25 tackle. He is a big, big boy, 6'7", 230 pounds. He pass protects fairly well. He moves okay for that size. You kind of worry, and I think his foot speed's not as good as it needs to be. And with 6'7", he kind of stands up a little too tall, and he lets guys get leverage on him in the run game. So he's not a great run blocker, but he's a decent pass protector. Um, I don't really know where I'd project him in the league. I really think maybe you can put some more muscle on him, but he's already 330 pounds. Maybe just some more functional strength to his game, and he'll be able to be an adequate starter. But I really think this is more of a depth piece, a swing tackle. All right, going to Isaiah Adams from Illinois. I really like this guy. He is one of the tackles in this class that I think really showed up in um, in a really heavy tackle Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, Hula Bowl process. 6'5", what is he? 6'5", 315, and he's just an okay tackle. Um, he's played a little bit inside, but mostly on the right tackle. I was looking to see if he did play any left tackle, and it looks like last year he played a little bit of left tackle, but not enough. He played about 100 snaps last year, so he has played some left guard, but he's mostly a right tackle. He hasn't played. It looks like I don't see anything logged for him other than last year, but he's going to be 24 at the draft, so that's a little bit of an issue. My thing with him was I thought he moved his feet well. I don't think he's a good enough pass protector to stay at tackle, which is fine. He's 320 pounds, so I don't think he's going to have an issue moving inside and playing guard. He played guard a little bit at the tackle level, anyways. I think this is someone who I'm going to start at right tackle. Start as my swing right tackle. But most likely he's going to move inside the guard. I didn't want to put him in our interior offensive line rankings just because I think some teams are still going to look at him as maybe a swing guard, especially in one of those wide zone schemes that you see like the Shanahan's running, because he moves his feet really well in the run game. He's not as powerful as I really want him to, but he's comfortable out in space. Next, let's go to Jack Nelson from Wisconsin. This is a guy who's kind of an all-around good footwork, good hand placement. He doesn't move as well as I really thought he would move at Wisconsin, and he also isn't as physical as I really thought he'd be. So he's got the technique part down, but I need to see some physicality. Some physicality is really what I'm looking for Jack Nelson. I see this as a day three guy. He's been in college for a while, and he really just hasn't improved. He's adequate. And again, it's like he knows where he needs to put his feet. He knows when to strike. He strikes. He doesn't lean when he strikes. So he's got great technique. His feet are slightly slow, I would say, and he just doesn't punch with power. He doesn't move to second level And anytime he's on a safety, he doesn't destroy these safeties out in open space, these corners out in open space. He just doesn't do it. So I think he's a swing tackle at the next level, and maybe someone else can teach him some things. All right, going to Joshua Gray from Oregon State. This was someone who was on my top 5 tackle watch list over summer scouting, and he fell down the rankings not because of his own doing, just because there were some other tackles that rose up. Um, he's someone I really like as a left tackle. Um, I think he moves really well. I think he's powerful enough. The one thing I will say with him is that I just don't really know. Um, I don't really like how he times his punches. That's one thing I will say about him. But he's an all around tackle. This group right here, even going to Marquez Cox from Kentucky, they are guys who I think all of them are swing tackles or they move inside. With Isaiah Adams, I think he moves inside. I really do, and I think he'll be a good guard. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Jack Nelson might be another guy that moves inside, but Josiah Gray is probably one of those guys like a Kendall Lamb is someone I'm thinking of who's just a really good swing starter, or like a I don't know if he could move inside like a Michael Onwenu where he can play all 5 positions. I really don't think that's him. And same with Marquez Cox. I don't think he moves inside either, but um, he's another one of those guys who I think with Cox, I think his foot speed is a little bit slow to be playing out on an island at tackle. All right, I know we sped past Marquez Cox, but that's okay. Whoops, I touched my mic again. I had to restart this because I messed up my mic the first time. Let's go ahead and keep going. So this is one who I don't really know what to do with him. So it's Jalen Sundell, North Dakota State. He is. Let me pull up his actual size because I was watching him earlier, and I think his size lied. I don't think he's actually as big as they say he is. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so it says he's 6'5", 300 pounds. He didn't really look like it to me. He looked more like he might be 6'3" and a half, 290, and that's okay. I just his arms didn't look as long as I thought they would be from reading his little profile before watching some of his tape, and it's just he moves well. He's a good mover, and his feet are always moving in pass protection. His arms are always shooting. So I he's a little sloppy. He leans a little bit in the pass protection game, but he's a really good pass protector. And if I wasn't so worried about his arm size and his actual weight to be able to handle bull rushes on the at tackle, I would really like him to stay at tackle. I think he's someone that's probably going to move inside. Again, this is another guy I think is going to move inside, and he's I think he's scheme specific. I really do. I think he's has to go to a zone offense, someone that gets him to move laterally because he's a really good mover. He pass protects well, and he's a really good mover, but he just doesn't really have the size and power that he's gonna blow someone off the ball. He's someone that you get him up to second level at a linebacker, and he's gonna pop him, and he's gonna hold his ground and shield. So I really like Jalen Sundell. I want to see what he measures in. I don't know if he's going to the combine next week, but I would really be interested to see what he measures in as because if he measures in at 300 pounds and he runs and he looks good in the drills and I just want to know his arm length. I'm not too worried about it, but if he's actually 300 pounds, I feel a little bit more confident about it. But all right, let's go to the next one. We got Walter Ruse from Oklahoma. He is one of 2 Oklahoma tackles we'll have on here. um, he is a bigger guy. He's 6'6", like 330, I think. And he's only played left tackle. I don't think he's a great tackle. I think he's adequate. There's really nothing too special about him. I think he's someone that can move inside. Kind of like he reminds me of Eric Flowers a little bit, just with his big body, where he's a decent run blocker, a decent pass blocker. I think he's more of a gap guy. If he moves inside, I think he's more of a gap runner than a zone runner. It didn't really feel like he's so super comfortable on bubble screens getting out into open space like that, but he moves well in pass protection. So you could keep him at left tackle. I just don't think he's got fast enough feet. Again, he's a bigger guy. He's 330 pounds. He's 6'6", 330. So he's got that long frame and everything. So it's just kind of hard for him to move his feet. I don't really blame him that much. You have to be a physical freak like his right tackle partner that we'll talk about later is to be able to move that well at that kind of size. So I think he's someone that probably goes inside, slides out every once in a while at tackle. My comp for him is Eric Flowers, and that's a good comp. I think that's an adequate level starter at guard, and then someone that can kick out for a couple games at tackle is very beneficial. I would take him, you know, early day 3, probably 5th round pick right now, but I really do like that pick right there. I'm a big fan of Walter Rouse, so I think that's how you say his name, Walter Rouse. All right, getting to this next guy, we have Jonah Monaghan, I think is how you say it, from USC. Um, he's another bigger body guy. Let me pull up his profile again. I'm sorry. So many of these guys, I don't wanna mess it up and give him the wrong size profile, but yeah. And there's a lot more tackles in this tackle class that I just haven't gotten to see. So, um, I'm excited for them, but I just haven't been able to watch them yet. There's legitimately, I mean, what you might say 15, you know, guys that'll be drafted in the first 3 rounds, and then another, I don't know, another 15 that'll probably end up being drafted as well. So maybe 30 guys drafted. And it would help if I put some of their height and weight on the side over here, but I just haven't done that. Did he pull himself out? I don't know. I don't see him on my list over here, so he might not even be in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass over him, and we will go to Matt Gonclaves. Matt Gonclaves from Pitt is another guy who I think he's got inside outside versatility, and I don't say that for him. I don't say that as a bad thing, saying, oh, he he's going to have to move inside. No, that's not what I'm saying with him. For him, I'm thinking of it more as if you have to move him inside, he can move inside, but I think he'll thrive at tackle. I really, really do. I think he's one of the guys that will thrive at tackle. So, um, he has a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit slow, but, um, he, I don't really know. I think he has slower feet than I would really want. Again, he's 6'6", 330, so it's kind of what you expect. He's got slower feet, so I don't know if I'd play him at left tackle. He played some left tackle this year. I think he's someone I'd really feel more comfortable being on the back side or on front side of the quarterback, so on the right side, so they can see if someone's beating him around the edge. But no one's gonna power rush this guy. This guy is very, very strong and built in that. He doesn't really move his feet super well in the run game. Um, but when he gets his hands on you, it's over. He's extremely, extremely powerful in the run game. You're not going to bull rush him as an edge rusher. Don't try it. And really, if you get him double teaming up to second level, you're just going to put guys on skates. Really, really like this guy. All right, let's get to Blake Fisher. Again, this is another who is one of 2 from a college that we have out here. So this is the right tackle for Notre Dame. Left tackle is going to be further up on the list. He's played left tackle for them for 2 years and has looked really, really good doing it. He's just, I wanted to find a flaw in this guy's game. I had him as, I think, my number 4 tackle this year going into it. And I'll say, I guess my one flaw that I have with him is just his I don't want to say foot speed because I've said that a couple times already, that his foot speed, but it's maybe not just his foot speed, but just his coordination with it, mostly in the run game. It's almost like I feel like his feet are just kind of choppy instead of using the length of them to really take strides to gain ground when he's trying to work laterally. That's kind of my only thing, is it just feels like he doesn't want to overstride, which is great. But again, he's 6'6". He's got these long legs. He's strong at the point of attack. I again, this is where you start getting into that day two range where I'm like, I don't really see that big of flaws with these guys. Now, could they be monsters and could they be stronger? 100%. They could definitely be stronger. But I don't see any issue with this guy starting day one at right tackle. It's just I think he's going to be scheme specific. I think he's strong enough in the run game, but I don't. He's not a guy that's going to really blow anyone off the ball. So let's go to these. Let's take these next two guys and group them together. So we have Roger Rosengarten from Washington. He's the right tackle at Washington, and then we have Christian Jones, the right tackle at Texas. Both of these guys, extremely, extremely athletic, good movers, big boys, 6'6", 6'7", 315 pounds, somewhere around that range for both of these guys. And dude, they move well in the run game. They move laterally well. They're strong at the attack point. Their passing game is what really needs some work. Again, these are two big boys, and so it's understandable. It really is understandable that their feet, their upper body and lower body aren't really working together at the same time. They're two guys that I really put in the same pairing when I was watching them. It's just, maybe they'll lean a little bit. They won't strike at the right time. Sometimes they'll two-hand punch. Their footwork gets a little bit slower, but they're big guys and they're very, very athletic. I think Rosengarten was a basketball player in high school, and you could just tell the way that he's able to move his feet. Sometimes he keeps them down, and sometimes they're a little slow, but I think both these guys have an extremely, extremely high ceiling. You might see them both get taken in the third round. They might rise even further than that, depending on how they do at the combine and pro day. But these are two very, very athletic. We got a bunch of athletic tackles in this class. This could be a Hall of Fame tackle class. And I don't say that just to say that. Whoops, I'm revealing too much. All right, let's go to Kingsley. Kingsley Suamatea from BYU. He is 6'6", 315 pounds, and he's young. He's only 21 years old right now. We talked about him in our summer scouting series that we did, and he played right tackle last year. And I thought he was going to stay at right tackle, but I said I think this guy can play left tackle, and he played left tackle this year. Man, he kind of disappointed me, but I still have him up here just because he's super athletic. He's very, very athletic. He was fine in pass protection. As a left tackle, his pass protection was really, really good. So I'm not worried about that, but he just doesn't really inspire me in the run game. He's not mean. He doesn't finish his runs. He doesn't finish his blocks in the run game, anything like that. So he's a left tackle who's a pass first guy. He can play both sides, but he's just, I wouldn't even say adequate in the run game. I think he's below average and kind of a detriment to your run game. If you're a team that's a heavy run team, I don't think you can take Suamatea. I really don't think so. And it was just a little disappointing, to be honest with you. So next, we have Patrick Paul from Houston and Dominic Pooney from Kansas. So Dominic Pooney is a guy who I think is probably going to move inside from Kansas. And I think Patrick Paul is another guy who I would want to move inside, but I'm just afraid because of his size, really. So let's talk about Pooney really quickly. He is a little bit of an older prospect that doesn't really have much tape. So he's going to be 23 years old. And it's funny to say that that's an older prospect right now, but it is. It's someone that's had 5 years in college, and he really only has about two seasons worth of tape. So, and last season's tape wasn't really even that good. Let me click on his name so we got it. Last season's tape was all at guard. So he's a left tackle who was a left guard last year at Kansas. But, I don't know why he wasn't playing right tackle last year. Just because his pass protection is really, really good. I think he runs well too. I'm just worried about his size. So I know we talk about that a lot with these tackles that, they move their feet well and they understand how to use their hands on pass rush plans. And so I'm not really worried about him being 6'4" or 6'3.5". I think he's probably gonna be under 6'5". I think he's probably 6'4", maybe 6'3", just depending on what his measurements are. But I don't think he's a guy that can move inside. But man, I'm starting to go off on a tangent here. So with his size, I'm not worried about his height. I don't really care if he's 6'3", if he's got long enough arms. And I'm not too worried about the length of his arms. You look at a guy like Rashawn Slater, who's 6'4", had those 31.5-inch arms, and he looks really, really good. So Pooney can be that kind of guy, but I'm just gonna a guy that we've only got 600 snaps at left tackle. I don't want to throw him up into my top 10 rankings just because, oh, well, he's an elite pass protector in the Big 12. And the Big 12 has a bunch of good pass rushers, but, it's someone that I want to see a little bit more. I want to get the measurements to kind of reaffirm myself. So let's go to Patrick Paul, and then I think we're going to stop and we'll do the top 10 in the second video because I feel like this is getting a little long. So Patrick Paul is a 6'7", 315-pound guy from Houston. He's played left tackle for years and years and years at Houston. So he's got close to 3,000 snaps at left tackle. So I'm not worried about him being able to play that at the next level. It's just, again, kind of with what we were talking about with Kingsley Suamataia, is good pass protector, doesn't really inspire me in the run game, which is surprising because I thought last year he was moving guys in the run game. And I know it was Houston at the American Conference and now he's at the Big 12, so maybe that's what it is. He moved up in conference and he's not really able to overpower guys. He still uses his feet really well. For a 6'7" guy, he's only 315 pounds and he moves he moves really well. I think he's probably closer to 6'6", 300. But again, I'm not too worried about that. He moves his feet really well. I think this is a guy who fits in a zone system. I'd be concerned putting him in a gap power system. Anyone that really is run oriented. Again, same with Kingsley. I'm saying the same thing with him. So that's really all I have right now. We got top 10 coming up in the next video. Should be coming out. It might come out tomorrow. But yeah, that's it. If you agreed with me on any of this or you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe because we got more videos coming up. If you did not agree with any of my takes, if you have some other tackles that you think we should talk about, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. Let's have some civil discourse. So that's all I got for you guys today. Have a good day and peace.